My name is Mark Powell. I'm the mayor of the city of Arnold. It's an honor to have Congressman Carnahan here with us this morning to give his State of the District address. I understand we also have a State of the District address, a State of the County address tomorrow morning by Presiding Commissioner Chuck Banks. It's always interesting and informative to hear what is going on amongst the leaders of our country and our county. Today, it's my honor to introduce Presiding Commissioner Chuck Banks, who will say a few words and then introduce Congressman Carnahan. Chuck?
Thank you, Mayor Powell. Welcome, everyone. This is the correct way here. Thank you all for coming today. It's great that you are here to show that you are engaged and interested and concerned citizens of Jefferson County. I want to thank Congressman Carnahan for again having his annual State of the District address here in our county. This is another demonstration of the Congressman's commitment to Jefferson County. Today shows us how important it is for elected officials and their constituents to work together on all levels of government, state, local, and federal, to ensure that we improve the quality of life in our community. As a member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Congressman Carnahan works with our local elected officials to ensure the commitment of dollars and the wise expenditures of those dollars to make our roads safer. As a member of the Science and Technology Committee, Congressman Carnahan works on improving education and in the important areas of science, math, and engineering, the basic building blocks for creating jobs of the future. The Congressman has helped us in the fight against meth, an issue I know that has affected so many families here in our community and has tried the resources of our sheriff and local police departments. As a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Congressman Carnahan has committed not only to making a sensible foreign policy that is truly balanced and tempered, but also making our American businesses more competitive by fighting for fair trade deals and economic agreements that create jobs here in America, not relocating them to other countries. I know that this is important to many of the Jefferson County businesses and their employees, especially those in manufacturing, for these are good-paying jobs with important benefits. So as you can see, what happens in Washington affects us, and what we do here in Jefferson County affects Washington. That is why I'm so pleased to have a congressman that understands this important relationship, the relationship between local, state, and federal officials working with citizens that they represent, making laws and policies that work and improve the lives of our community and our neighbors. So it's my pleasure to introduce the congressman from the 3rd Congressional District of Missouri, Congressman Russ Carnahan.
Thank you, Mayor Powell and Commissioner Banks. It is good to be here. I almost didn't make it here this morning. I flew out, earliest flight out of D.C. this morning. They was going to get me here in plenty of time. Got to the airport, almost an hour ahead of time. And as I was going through the security line that was longer than normal, there came an announcement over the loudspeaker. It said, the flight to St. Louis is leaving early. Everyone needs to be on the plane now. And so I rushed through security, ran all the way down to almost the end of the corridor. So I got my exercise this morning getting here, even though I came by plane. But it's always great to be home. This is my 4th State of the District address. And I consider this part of my job. I work for you. That's the way this works, at least the way it's supposed to work. It is truly, as Commissioner Banks said, a joint effort here. And to have so many of our local leaders here and community leaders means a lot to me. I wanted to reflect a little bit about where we have come from as a country. When we were an early American colony, after we'd been governed by a distant and a detached king in England, we had some folks here that had a better idea about how government ought to work. that it's supposed to be accessible to people. It's supposed to really reflect their needs. And we're supposed to be engaged in making that happen. And I wanted to read part of the preamble of our Constitution. It says, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." Those are bold words back then, when we'd been governed by that distant and detached king. We had a different view from England many years later from Winston Churchill. He described democracy. He said, "It's been said that democracy is the worst form of government, except all the others that have been tried." But the founders of our country had this brilliant notion. And in that Constitution, they talked about how the Congress is supposed to work. The Congress is the first branch of government. The U.S. House is designed to be the closest to the people, has the power of the purse, power to declare war. And the House is held to elections every 2 years. Some people say, "Oh, that's too many. That's too often." That's not what they thought. They thought it was supposed to be that way, to keep the people and their elected representatives close. We also have great common values in this country, shared by virtually every faith on the planet, to promote peace, to care for the poor and the sick, to be good stewards of our planet. It's part of who we are. But really one of the key ingredients, what makes this brilliant experiment in democracy work, is you, each and every one of you. Without you, it's like the St. Louis Cardinals without any players. It's like schools without pupils, churches without congregations, elections without voters. You are a key ingredient in what makes us work. But also what makes us work is that we organize. Or as some in South St. Louis say, organize. There was a famous French historian that came to travel across the United States in the early 1840s, Alex de Tocqueville. And he described Americans' unique penchant for organizing like this. He said, "Americans form association in order to channel the individualistic inputs of our society, to enable people to serve a cause greater than themselves." That, I think, is what makes our great system work. Last year, 66% of the people, voters in this district, hired me to be their representative in Congress. And that is truly a great honor. It's my job not just to represent those people, but all of the 650,000 people that live in this district, no matter if they voted for me or against me or whether they can even vote at all. And in order to make your government work best, it's also my job to be accessible and engaged with you. It's also my job to get results. Not just to talk about issues, not just to go to Washington, engage in the same old gridlock, the tired politics of division. I've said it many times. I'll go to work with anybody, anywhere, anytime to get results for the people I represent. That includes working to change the culture in Washington. I've had a tradition starting off in the state legislature, where Representative Rorda is now and many of my friends, working with both sides of the aisle. That's the way it's supposed to work, even when we have differences. One of the first things I did when I came to Congress was join a group called the Center Aisle Caucus, where actually Democrats and Republicans get together to talk about things we can do together. Also, We've had a great success with our Missouri delegation. We have 9 House members in Missouri, and I compliment Representative Roy Blunt. He's organized those meetings of our Missouri delegation. We have them every month or two, even though we may have differences. We're all Missourians, and we should and we do work together where we can. And as evidence of that, I'm proud that even during the times when I was in the minority, I had 3 bills go through the Congress, signed into law by the President, that are effective today. Part of that change in the culture of Washington, this new Congress took up very seriously with the most sweeping lobby and ethics reform since the Watergate scandals of the 1970s. It was much needed, and I think it helps us move forward to clean up some of the bad practices of the past. We also reinstituted pay-as-you-go budget rules that had been done away with in the past Congresses. Again, like all of us and our families, we have budgets we have to live within. Our government has to do the same. There was also an ambitious agenda set at the beginning of this new Congress. We passed the long overdue 9/11 Commission recommendations. We also provided veterans with the largest funding increase for them in history. We also addressed the rising energy cost, passing the Energy Security Act, which by its design responsibly deals with threats posed by global warming and climate change. We were in desperate need of changing the course of our country from dependence on fossil fuels from foreign countries that are unstable and unfriendly, when we can be producing energy right here in the Midwest from the American farmer and not the Middle East. Those are key components for us achieving energy independence in the months and years ahead. We also passed the largest expansion of college aid since the GI Bill, the first increase in the minimum wage in a decade, and health care for 10 million children in form of the CHIP program. Unfortunately, the Congress has passed it 3 times. The President has vetoed it twice, and I'm worried he may veto it again. But we will continue to do that until we get the job done. We also passed tax cuts for 19 million middle-income Americans who had crept up into being affected by the alternative minimum tax. Recent developments have brought us into more clear focus that we need to make adjustments in our economy. The subprime mortgage crisis has hit many communities hard. We passed a Mortgage Relief Act recently that removes this tax burden on mortgage indebtedness. It encourages market-based restructuring between lenders and homeowners and discourages foreclosures. We unfortunately also have seen signs of our economy weakening. We've begun discussions over the last few weeks of an economic stimulus package that we believe in principle should be bipartisan. It should be timely, that we can get spending ability in people's hands quickly. It should be temporary and should be targeted to middle and low-income people who need it most. And it shouldn't create any new bureaucracy to implement the program. Those are some of the basic principles that we're working on, and it is my hope and expectation that by mid-February we will have that passed and signed by the President. I think this may be the first of many such economic incentive packages to help bolster our economy and keep it strong. I also want to turn to one of the most serious issues before us today, in that we are a nation still at war. A consequence that has strained the readiness of our armed forces, the ability of our nation to meet the growing needs of the American people here at home as well. I've worked with my Missouri colleague, Armed Services Committee Chairman Ike Skelton, to support the readiness agenda for our troops, to always be sure that they have the proper training, the proper equipment, and time between deployments so that they can do their job well. But I also have been vigorous repeatedly in pushing the administration to a new direction in Iraq. Our military has been exemplary. No question about it. They are the best ever in the world. But we're at a point now where no military solution is there for the big problems remaining in Iraq. Those solutions now depend on returning our troops home safe, soon, and with international cooperation for diplomatic and political solutions, and Iraqis taking responsibility for their own country. The cost of this conflict, which has today claimed the lives of more than 3,000 U.S. servicemen and women, leaving tens of thousands more injured, must also be measured on the future needs of those who return. We have to focus on those more than 250,000 veterans who, upon their return home from Iraq and Afghanistan, often suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, loss of limbs, jobs, or family. As a Congress, we passed the Wounded Warriors Act to clean up the scandal of inadequate care in some of our facilities around the country. Despite the President's objection, we gave troops a raise and overturned health care fees that they were being charged unfairly. The new Congress has addressed the worst military readiness crisis we've had in this country since the 1970s. Creation of our Strategic Readiness Fund fully funds the Army and Marines and meets their need to replenish depleted equipment, as well as the National Guard and Reserve. The other impact we've seen from this costly war in Iraq is America's image and standing around the world. I talked to a group of high school students this week who were visiting Washington, and one of the young high school students asked, what can we do about the way America is viewed around the world? And it really struck me, coming from this young student. And that would have been an unthinkable question to me when I was growing up. Wouldn't even be considered. We had a hearing in the Foreign Affairs Committee recently. There's been polling going on in countries all over the world for probably almost a half a century about what other countries think of us. And America has the lowest image now than they've had in the history of that polling. Not good for our national security, for our economic security, for so many reasons. But the polling dug into why. What's that about? Well, the good news is, almost everywhere in the world, there's an image of America that we stand for international cooperation, standing up for the rule of law, human rights, fairness. And the reason they're so upset is they think we haven't stood for those values in some instances. And that's something we really need to fix. It's something that is going to be important for our leaders in the years ahead to begin to reach out and reaffirm those commitments about what America is all about. Let me turn now and talk about this place that we all call home. Missouri and its 3rd Congressional District include the central and southern parts of the St. Louis region. The special people and places here are truly a slice of America. We have urban, suburban, rural, all together in one district. We've been described many ways. We've been the inspiration and support behind the great spirit of St. Louis. We were the gateway to the West, for the core of discovery, doing those early explorations of the Louisiana Territory. All our counties are on the Mississippi riverfront. We've been known as the Show Me State. We're in the breadbasket of America. And around the turn of the century, we were described as a place that was first in shoes, first in booze, and last in the American League. Not a very flattering description. But we still have the king of beers here. Our manufacturing has transitioned from some more traditional manufacturing to biobelt, health sciences, but we also still produce some of the best cars and traditional goods in America. We still are the best sports town in America. We have some of the best companies here. And most importantly, we have some of the best people, some of the most productive workforce. We've got some of the top percentages of PhD doctors and scientists anywhere in the world. We've got some of the most progressive labor unions, skilled tradesmen and women anywhere. And we're a place that knows how to value diversity. But we have some challenges. Unfortunately, we have some of the highest rates of childhood obesity, smoking, some of the highest rates of methamphetamine production. Some of the fastest growing areas that we have some of the deadliest roads. We have unique geography. We have been faced with the high waters of the mighty Mississippi, the high winds of heartland tornadoes, and we sit on the New Madrid earthquake fault line. So we aren't without our challenges. But we have such great assets here that I believe with those resources and good old-fashioned American ingenuity, inspiration, and hard work, there's no challenge that we cannot meet. As we talked about that local organizing earlier, one of the things that I've been most proud of the work we've done in my congressional offices is engaging leaders in our community. I want to thank all of you that have been a part of that, even if it's in a small way. And I want to highlight a few of those. We formed numerous congressional advisory committees to bring together local leaders in terms of really implementing local initiatives, but also looking at ways that we can engage our national resources to help make them happen. And we have several members here from my Veterans Advisory Committee here with us today. And they represent all the geographic areas of the district. They've been great in engaging in this national debate on how we honor our veterans. They have done a great job in terms of how we can best deliver and support our veterans here locally, and also raising awareness of our veterans. I want to thank them for their service. We also have organized a healthcare advisory board, and there are healthcare folks from across the spectrum. A lot of folks in the healthcare industry that don't normally sit in the same room and talk together. But that has been amazingly helpful. They've been very supportive of the Children's Healthcare Initiative federally, very mobilized about that. They also have helped identify a unique shortfall in our system in terms of the nursing crisis that's been going on for several years. One of the bottlenecks, frankly, they have more people wanting to go into nursing than they have spots, and one of the reasons for that is we don't have enough nursing professors. So we've worked on federal legislation to help incentivize and support bolstering more nurses to go into teaching, and we think that can be a big help. They also have focused on the issue of health care IT. By using technology for records, it's not only more efficient in terms of getting access to patients' records with privacy protection, but also we can save literally millions upon millions of dollars in our healthcare system that can be used to better support patient care instead of bureaucratic paperwork. Also, we've had regular meetings with our school superintendents. And oddly enough, our Missouri Congressional delegation, we have key members on most committees in the Congress, but we don't have a member on the Education Committee in the House. So as they're debating reauthorization of No Child Left Behind, that has such a great impact on our schools, I organized a video conference meeting between our school superintendents and Congressman George Miller of California, who's the chairman of the committee. And they did a great job in pulling together a specific list of things from their experience in the front line of educating kids and running schools in terms of what needed to be done to fix that law and make it better. It was a great way for me to share that local expertise with policymakers in Washington. We also have recently organized a senior citizens Congressional Advisory Committee, and they will be traveling around to senior centers around the district, getting input from seniors in terms of key issues on health care, transportation, prescription drugs, that again can be helpful in what we do locally to serve them, but how we also make our policy in Washington. And finally, we've had a great collection of folks working on a healthy foods initiative that brings together our local producers in nearby rural areas, just outside the urban areas, that can help provide locally grown healthy foods for markets, for schools, for universities, for restaurants. It also is an important part of their overall strategy in addressing the childhood obesity and fitness to get them on better diets. So we're also very happy that we understand and expect several of the school districts in this coming school year to have a sampling of locally grown healthy foods on their menus. So it's great for our kids and also great for our local producers. We also have undertaken a number of local initiatives bringing people together. We have an amazing resource here in South County in Jefferson Barracks. It is really an amazing asset. Not only has the National Cemetery, has the active military things going on there. They also have plans for a new joint service center. The VA hospital, of course, is there with some world-class health care for our veterans, and also the parks and museums that are there, part of Jefferson Barracks. It's a tremendous economic engine, does a lot for our community, and we got an idea from what was going on over at Whiteman Air Force Base, how they had organized a community council to bring all those groups together. We've done that. They've organized, they've got a set of bylaws, they have regular meetings to not only promote that great asset and what we can do with that, but also as these regular base closing schedules come up, that we're sure that our community leaders are together and advocating for why we need to keep and maintain that presence here in our community. We also, being river communities, I worked with the Corps of Engineers to organize the first Missouri Levee Summit of communities up and down the river in terms of what we need to be doing to protect our communities from the river when it gets out of control. We know too well from the flood of '93 and other times the power the river has. We come a long way with improvements to the flood wall in Festus Crystal City, St. Genevieve, several improvements on the way. We do have a very deteriorating St. Louis flood wall. And in the Water Resources Bill we recently passed, there's language and dollars to help get that started, matched with the local bond issue that was passed in St. Louis to help us protect that levee system. We also, in that bill, $2 billion in that bill for reconstruction of the locks and dams up and down the river, and also for environmental restoration. So that's going to be a massive project down the road, the key to our economic development here. And lastly, we just toward the end of last year had a green building conference, pulling together elected officials, builders, building trades, engineers, on how we can take advantage of this great green building movement. Many people don't realize more CO2 is emitted from our buildings than our cars. But we've seen in other places around the world where they've grown whole new economies, new businesses, new jobs out of building this green economy. It's something we should do here. We should take a lead in it. The other thing that we've seen, leaders around the world repeatedly have said, when asked, what can America do to help improve our image around the world? One of the things we repeatedly hear is that we have not taken a leadership role internationally on the environment and energy and climate change. They're just crying out to see us take a leadership role. It's something we can do, it's something we should do, and this Congress is going to continue to push that. I've given you really an overview of many initiatives, both on the federal level and locally, that we've been involved in. As you can see, that's a lot to have on your plate. But I can't miss thanking folks on my staff. I think I've got one of the best staffs in Washington and here in Missouri. Jim McHugh is my director here. Jim, please raise your hand in the back. Anna Jenkerson is here. Glenn Campbell. Anybody else? Tim Ogle over here. Again, thank them for the work they do on my behalf and for you. I just want to thank all of you for the honor to serve. Thank you for engaging to help this be a more perfect union and to organize for a cause greater than ourselves. It has been a pleasure to work with you, and I know we can face down any challenge we have and continue to make this a better place to work and live. Thank you all very much.